Can you introduce yourself and share your name and your official title?
Yeah, Chris Watkins, Peoria County Sheriff.
All right, what positions did you hold before sheriff, and how did these roles shape your leadership style?
Great question. So I became a correction officer right when I became out of the Air Force at 22. I was a correction officer for a year and a half, and then I became tested and became a deputy. Did that for a few years. Was a community service officer in West Peoria, which what that is when you're assigned to a specific community, you go to their meetings, you build those relationships with the community, which is very, very important. So that's where, as a 22-year-old, I didn't know how to talk to people, and that's where I learned how to talk to people. So um, that was a great role I had for several years. From there, I became a undercover agent for 3 years, where I went and focused on drugs and guns in Peoria County. Um, and also, the MEG doesn't just do Peoria County. We do Knox. At that time, we were doing Knox County, Tazewell County, Woodford County. Um, so I was one of my claim to fame was buying off a cartel member in Galesburg when I was undercover. So it was fun. That was probably my most fun 3 years of being a police officer. From there, I came back to patrol, um, trained new officers for a couple of years, and became a general detective, which is like I showed you earlier, where you're investigating thefts to murders. So we had a lot of interesting cases we worked on several murder cases. Um, been on a couple TV shows, Snapped, American Monster for a murder case that we worked up in Wisconsin that led down to here. I've been fortunate to do a lot of cool things. Um, from investigator, I became a patrol lieutenant, got promoted to lieutenant. Then I went back into investigations. We talked to Lieutenant Johnston. I was in that role for several years. Then became an operations captain, um, court security captain, and then I became sheriff.
Could you explain what a court security captain does?
Yep, the court security captain, you're in charge of all the security at the courthouse. Courthouse is a very big complex that has a lot of state's attorneys, it has a lot of judges, and hundreds of people that go in there every day. So you're responsible for their security. So we have court security officers because we bring inmates down there to see their judges, the court dates, and we also have outside people come in to see court. So it's a very important role. I enjoyed it. I was only in it for 5 weeks, and then I got pushed back out here as operations captain, which operations captain's in charge of patrol and investigations. So did that for 2 years, and then I ran for sheriff.
What inspired you to pursue your career in law enforcement and eventually become a sheriff?
When I was 16 years old, my mom thought I was getting in trouble, which I don't think I was getting in trouble, but she saw I was hanging out with some people that were questionable. My mom worked here as a records person, and then a bookkeeper, the ladies that we met over there. So this Peoria County's always been part of my life. Even had to take my prom date here in high school to see my mom while she was working in the evenings. So I'm very integrated in Peoria County. But when she thought I was kind of acting up at home, at 16 years old, she had me do a ride along, and those are the best 8 hours I've ever. As a 16-year-old, it was very eye-opening, and I was like, "This is what I want to do." So I became in the military to buy myself time and get that experience, so I could serve the country, and then come back and be a police officer.
So I have done my research. So my next question is, with the 18 years in the Peoria County Sheriff's Office, what roles have you held, and how have they prepared you for your current position?
So I went through all those roles already with you, and they definitely help. That's one thing is if you're sheriff, you're kind of like a CEO of a company. And if I was only one role all the way through, like say I was only a correction officer for 18 years, it's tough to be sheriff when you don't know the other roles that's going on here. Like I said, with court security, um, patrol investigations, corrections. There's a lot of moving parts. So that's what makes somebody usually a very good leader is to have experience in all those roles.
How I stated, I've done my research. I have a question about the U.S. Air Force at your service. So Having served in the U.S. Air Force and now as sheriff, how how have your military experience influenced your approach to law enforcement?
It taught me discipline. It taught me integrity. And those are two real big things in the military. Is you know what integrity is, right? Doing the right thing when someone's not looking. That's huge, especially in the police world. Um, and then discipline. Getting up early, making sure you go to work every day. Those are good character traits you need to be a police officer.
What are your biggest challenges of leading a countywide law enforcement agency?
There's a lot of challenges. Every day is a different challenge. So you just have to be open minded and have a good team. I have a great team here. So when we do have challenges, we collaborate and figure out how do we fix that challenge, how do we deal with it, and how do we move on from that. But yeah, there's a lot of challenges. We are a very, very busy agency.
What initiatives does the sheriff's office have to engage with the community?
Being out there talking to people like you, right? Going to events, just everyone knowing who their sheriff is and being transparent with the public. They want to know if there was a bad wreck. They want to know if there's something going on that concerns their safety. So just being transparent and giving them as much information as I can.
How has that changed in the last 18 years?
I think social media has been a big thing. I'm not a big fan of social media, but we try to use it in our favor because it is important. People want to know. Last night we have a sheriff app now. Last night I got a text from our patrol captain that Route 116 was closed because of a wreck. I immediately got on there and said, "Hey, avoid the area for an hour. The road's closed." So using technology to our benefit and the criminals are using technology a lot too. So we're doing a lot of cool things. I got the Star Chase GPS darts on our squad cars now, so we shoot a dart at a car um, when it's fleeing us, so we can track it. So I mean, we're trying to evolve with technology as much as possible right now.
I feel like I've seen those people who shoot them from your bumper and it
Hmm.
sticks onto their
Yeah,
car and
yep.
can't even get it off.
It's hard to get off, but it does come off. But then we can track it, so we're not chasing a car 100 mile an hour at rush hour on a busy street because that's very dangerous for everybody.
How do you and your department ensure your vehicles are equipped for both rural and your urban environments?
So, last few years we've been trying to buy Tahoes. We had Deputy Gilmore, I think it's been 4 years now. He got rear-ended by a guy that was high and drunk, going 100 mile an hour, and he was driving a Tahoe. The Tahoe is what saved his life because they are built so good. Um, so we've been trying to buy Tahoes as much as possible. During COVID, they shut the line down for a couple of years, so we had to go back to the Ford Explorers, which are very good vehicles too. But we've been really trying to buy Tahoes to keep our people safe.
How does the sheriff's office decide which vehicles and equipment to use?
So we have a budget every year, so we try to stay in the budget and keep the. We have take-home cars, so we have a lot of squad cars out there. But that's nice because as soon as they leave their driveway, they're responding to calls, um, and they have a sense of pride of having their own vehicle too. And it's a good recruitment tool.
How does the sheriff's office handle major investigations like fugitive apprehensions?
Yeah, we have that U.S. Marshal, the deputy that's assigned to the U.S. Marshals. So that's all his number one job is to go get those high risk felony warrants that are usually shooters, rapists, just those really high level warrants. We've had several officer involved shootings because usually they're chasing really bad people who are armed.
I made sure to add that question because of the recent events with that guy.
Mm-hmm.
You mentioned you mentioned recruitment. In today's age, it's probably really hard to convince people to be police officers at times. How has that changed?
Yeah, when I took over, we were 10 deputies down and 20 correction officers down. We are now getting ready to hire our final 3 to 4 that will be fully staffed in deputies. So we're starting to see a trend of more applicants coming in. Also, I would like to think we're doing some really cool stuff here, and we're trying to really put that out there on videos and showing people how great of a job it is. corrections is still struggling. I think we're still down 13, 14 correctional officers. So it's it's tough. And one of the reasons is because there's still a lot of police openings. A lot of people that want to be correction officers want to start there and then go, yeah. Well, now they're skipping the correction side and they go straight to being a police officer. So once Peoria PD is fully staffed, we're fully staffed, East Peoria is fully staffed, when they're not just hiring 20 people at a time, that will then create more applicants for the jail. So and I think Peoria PD is trending well. We're trending well. So we're seeing a good trend in the right direction, but it was rough for a while. It was really, really
How did y'all manage whenever that fugitive, chasing that fugitive?
rough. The one that was running through the cornfields that stole the car with the kid in, that one. So it was a big operation. We were using drones. It was just horrible timing. That time of year, the corn was full. It was 10 foot tall, very thick. We knew he was in a cornfield, um, massive cornfield, but we also knew he was moving around. So you can jump cornfield to cornfield pretty easy without us. You're talking about a very large rural part of the county where we had a lot of police officers out there, but you still, especially when it turns into night. So he ended up getting away, jumping on a train, and found over in Iowa. But I mean, we spent a lot of time and effort on that individual. And it was just unfortunate he picked that area. Um, we got a tip that somebody saw him walking on the Rock Island Trail. So one of our lieutenants actually saw him. As soon as he saw the lieutenant, he jumped in the cornfield. And it's a maze, right? I mean, it's just very hard to find somebody. If it was in the winter or corn was only 3 foot tall, we would have found him within minutes. But it was that perfect storm for him to be able to slither around, and it was hard. We had drones with thermal on it. The thermal couldn't penetrate that corn because there's so much moisture in that corn, and it was hot. It was impossible to see him. We had dogs in the corn. Um, it's just, it was unfortunate, but we found him a couple weeks later.
So you clear your jail?
He he was. I don't know if he is in prison now or not. He had charges from all over. He was wanted out in New York. Stole a car in Woodford County. Just a career criminal. He is gone, actually. I think he is in DOC right now.
What steps do you take to ensure your deputies are well trained and prepared?
We've really upped our training. We do a lot of core training. Um, when I took over as sheriff, we've tripled our training. There's a lot of mandates, which are mostly good, um, but we do a lot of active shooter training in schools. We try to switch a school every year, so all of our deputies are in that school and kind of familiar with the layout. Right now, like I said, our chief deputy is doing corrections training for them. That has not been done in forever, so we really are upping our game in training because it's important.
Can you discuss any special units or programs within the sheriff's office?
Yeah, we went through a lot of more investigations, right? We have four general detectives, two GPAC stolen car detectives. We have a DCFS deputy that you're going to talk to. We have a cyber crimes detective, crimes against children detective, U.S. Marshal, Secret Service. We just have a lot of specialties. They're all very important, and a lot of these are paid for. We don't. A lot of them are paid for by the cert, like DCFS pays for that deputy. The marshals pay for the overtime for that deputy. GPAC, our stolen car task force, that's paid for by the state. So it's not all on the local taxpayer dime. We try to be. We have 5 SROs, which are school resource officers. Those are paid by the school districts. So um, a lot of opportunity here. Whatever you want to do, if you want to become a police officer, that's why we are kind of that perfect department. We're not too big. We're not too small. A lot of opportunities for you if you want to work here.
Could you explain what the Secret Service deputy does?
Yeah, he's assigned to the Secret Service at the U.S. Attorney's Office. He does all the cyber crimes. That's obviously a huge thing in the last 10 years. We don't see a whole lot of house burglaries anymore because, everyone has cameras, people are working from home. It's just very hard to break into a house and get away. Now you're seeing everybody's accounts getting hacked overseas, some local fraud too. So that is the new thing is digitally stealing money. is the new thing. So we and also we have predators online too, right? We have guys that want to do bad things to kids, so we are always trying to get those guys off the street. So it's a cool job for him too. And it's one of those jobs where you learn. He has to go to a lot of training when he's in that job. Um, so it's something he can do even when he retires, works for a digital company or something like that.
I know how we looked at the body cams earlier.
Hmm.
How do body worn and dash cameras improve transparency and evidence collection?
They've been great. Initially, we were like, what's this look like recording everything? But honestly, when people know they're recorded, and that goes for the deputy and that goes for the citizen or the bad guy, when they know they're being recorded, they act differently. Um, so it's been nothing but good for us. And I try to use it to promote our agency. We had a bad fire a couple years ago in West Peoria, and the deputies and the citizens used a sheet and caught a baby thrown from the balcony. And I put that body cam video out there, and it went nationwide, um, millions of views and everything. So using body camera for good stuff is great too.
One question I know most people have is, do yourself and your higher ups wear body cameras?
Yeah, by law we have to if we're out dealing with the community. In here, I don't need to wear a body camera when I'm in my office. But yeah, I have one in my vehicle. I have a vest, so if we go out on a active scene, we put them on.
How has technology made the job of a sheriff deputy safer and more efficient?
The technology we use as our friend. Like I said, with the star chase, that keeps everybody safe out there when we're not chasing cars all the time. Technology, we have tasers. You know, they've been around for 15 years, but it's a good less lethal tool instead of just having a gun. So, yeah, no, technology's been great for us.
I know there's many different types of tasers. Are you guys still at the X2?
We're at X7. There's an X10 out there. We just bought 6 of those. We're gonna test them out. So I think it's don't quote. I think it's X7. Those are the ones that
Yeah,
have two prongs.
KX7.
Yeah, they have two prongs. The X10 has one. So with X7, you have to have two connections when you tase somebody. Sometimes that's hard to do. The 7 is one. So we're gonna see um, how that translates, but they're very expensive too. So we have to keep that in mind. We have a grant to buy the 6 that we just purchased a few weeks ago, actually. So
Seen videos of the taser 10 where it has 10 prongs.
I'm not aware of 10 prongs, but
There's one that has
oh
10
yeah,
prongs where you can keep going back and you can keep
keep
going until
going.
it
Yeah, I
comes,
haven't seen it in action yet, so we'll
comes
see.
up. It's massive block.
The X7, we can take the cartridge off, and it's called a dry stun. So if we're real close with somebody, we can dry stun. Like say if they're laying on their hands and they don't want to give us their hands, we can dry stun them in the back, which usually makes them put their hands out. The X10 does not have that, so that's why we're going to see how that works.
How many towns and communities does Peoria County Sheriff's Office serve, and how do you manage law enforcement across the diverse area?
A lot of communities. We have, I think, 15 contracts, 5 schools, Hannah City, the airport's 24/7, Dunlap, Princeville, Norwood, Bellevue, West Peoria's 24/7. We have a lot of contracts, so I'm talking to all those mayors, Medina. Um, it's important because they want community officers. They want to see patrols in their area. So some are very small, where it's like an hour a day, and then you have the airport in West Peoria that's 24/7. So um, yeah, it's we have a lot of contracts. So every couple of years we have to negotiate how much they pay us for that, but we also try to be reasonable with them because it's important to have.
If you could add any cutting edge of technology to your fleet, what would it be and why?
Star Chase was a big project for me. I mean, that's something that we just got installed a few weeks ago, about a month ago. So that's my newest one, but I'm always thinking outside the box of what we can get. There's a thing called the grappler where they drive behind a vehicle if it's running from us, and it ties up a car. The only thing that I have a little bit of issue with that is you're so close to that car. If the guy has a gun, you're gonna be right up on him. So um, we're gonna see how that I've seen some agencies that have some really good success with that. So that might be another thing we look at. Um, I'm always looking at technology and just staying ahead of the game. We have license plate readers; those are huge. Um, Most crimes are committed in a vehicle, so having being able to type in someone's license plate, make, model, color of a car, we can see all that around Peoria. We can kind of follow that car where it's at. We've solved murders with those license plate readers.
So I'm on to my closing questions now.
All right.
If you could give one piece of advice to someone considering a career in law enforcement, what would it be?
It's a very honorable position, and we love the brotherhood and sisterhood of working alongside of everybody. It's kind of like the military too. It's one of those things where it's nice to be with 10 other people that are going through the same things you are, right? And we're a close knit group. Um, you gotta want to do it. Everyone says, "Well, I want to be a cop to help people." Yeah, that's one thing. But also, you can make a lot of money at it. You're not gonna get rich. It's just being out there and helping people is a big thing. Like little things like changing a tire for somebody goes a long way, or just you're seeing people at their worst a lot of times. So, um, like I said, the guns and drugs is kind of what drove me to being a police officer, is because I loved getting bad guys off the streets. I thought that was very cool, and it is cool.
Where could people go to learn more about the sheriff's office?
We have a website. We are very, very active on Facebook and Instagram. Um, haven't done TikTok yet. They're trying to get me to do it, but I haven't done it yet. But yeah, our website and like I said, Facebook, we're on there every day showing what we're doing out there. I think that's a huge. You'll see we have a couple commercials that we shot, videos that we shot last year that kind of show all the stuff that we do.
What's one thing about your fleet that might surprise the viewers?
I think the Star Chase thing is they got a lot of attention, shooting darts at cars. I mean, like James Bond, that's a big one. Um, Besides that, a squad car. We have a lot of we have cameras and all over the squad cars. The squad car cameras are hooked into the body cameras, so they all work as one because we want to capture as much video as possible. I think that's about it.
I know how you said earlier when you draw your service weapon, your body cam instantly starts recording.
Yeah, yep. Well, for our patrol deputies, they have that. Which, do you know why that would be the reason?
Because you want to keep someone on video, you have to draw your weapon.
Yes, these things happen so quick, right? Action is quicker than reaction. So I don't want a deputy who comes across somebody to worry about turning the body camera on when it needs to be focused on that individual. If that individual pulls a weapon out, now when he pulls his gun out, that body camera is going to be capturing. So we try to make it easier. We want deputies to go home safe every night, right? That's our key. But we also want to capture whatever's going on video for transparency reasons.
What's the best way for residents to stay informed and engaged with the sheriff's office?
We are always here. Like I said, through social media is kind of how we engage with people. I am always out at events talking to schools. We have, like I said, our community police officers, our SROs. We have a lot of people out there in the community.
What's one thing you wish you knew before about one thing you wish more people would know about the sheriff's office?
We've been trying very hard to put out there all the good things that we do. And then if there's an issue, we try to be transparent. Last week I fired and had a CO correction officer arrested for bringing in contraband to an inmate. Like we don't tolerate that, and we're going to be open with people and get ahead of that. We don't want to hide that from the public. So we have to take the good and bad with policing, right? We don't want any bad apples. We don't. Cops don't want to work with bad apples either. So, um, yeah.
So my last question. Well, thank you for your time and any final thoughts?
No, keep doing what you're doing. This is great, Kale. This is um, you're helping us out by doing this too, right? So we really appreciate you. And you're going to talk to Deputy Griggs, and he's going to enlighten you on a lot of things that I haven't said. So I'm excited to see this.